Oh
it's
yeah,
really.
it's counterintuitive because they say
Mm,
with passwords, pick something that you will remember,
mm,
but you can't pick anything that you know, right?
yes,
So that
exactly.
that doesn't make any sense at all to do that. And I think all of my passwords are now variations on one word. It's always
Mm,
like word 1 or word 10 or word 100 or 1,000, or I think one of them is 10,000 now. I just keep adding zeros to the end. Um, if that doesn't work, it's like try the capital letters. Try putting capital letters in, and I try to do that, and it's really crazy. I let Google have access to all my passwords, and Google automatically remembers them, which means that Google knows all my passwords. And I don't care.
mm,
I don't care that Google knows all my passwords, because if you've got
mm,
nothing to hide, what is the point in hiding something, right? I mean,
mm.
it's why would anybody want access to? Somebody might steal your data. Like, theft. Here's a theory for you. Theft is appreciation of value. What this means is, if somebody steals something or takes something that doesn't belong to them, it's because the thing that they're taking has some value.
Mm,
And if there's something that's valuable, then you have some power or control
yeah.
over something, or some knowledge of something, which is kind of nice. It's kind of
Mm,
important. So if ever anybody wants to take something from you, it's because you have something, and that's good, right? So if somebody ever wanted to steal something from me, I would be like, well, okay, that's because I have something of value. Because you don't steal things that have no value. You don't take
mm,
things that are worth nothing. You always take something that's worth something. So um, I don't really care about my security online. I think if somebody stole my account for some reason, whatever, that's life. I hope that I wouldn't lose my data, and I trust the companies that are the big companies to protect the data to a certain
mm.
extent. But of course, they're in control. But that's all right. I don't mind if they have some control, because they have to, because it's their system. So it's it's crazy with all the logins and passwords. I really don't know all my logins and passwords, and I have given Google permission to automatically fill any forms with my data. So so fair enough. And luckily, I am internet savvy, which means I understand a little bit how it works, and you can, or I can, at least I can see when something is not right. If some website asks me for some data and it's a little
Mm,
bit unusual, I can see that, and I can go, well, I don't actually think that it's a good idea to put my data into this website, because I'm not buying anything from them, or they don't need to know where I live or whatever. So there's definitely um, a lot of hassle and problems with all
yes,
of these
definitely.
all of these things. And I was told years ago, or I think we were all told years ago, that once we have facial recognition, everything will be easy. You will just look at the camera and everything will happen automatically. Or you'll use your fingerprint. Your fingerprint is unique to you. It's not actually. There are quite a few people who have similar fingerprints, to be honest. Right. So it's not entirely unique. It's pretty unique, but not entirely unique. And yeah, you'll just scan your fingerprint, and that sort of hasn't really happened, especially not with
Yeah.
computers. So it's a it's a puzzle, and whenever
Mm,
it's always a bit of a problem when the computer asks me for my password. like my password for Skype, I've got no idea what my password for Skype is. I've got no idea what my password for Facebook is. I've got no idea what my password. I have no idea what any of them are. And then it says, we will suggest a password for you. We will give you a secure and safe password. And it's like 1CB.3/QSP67 / whatever. And it's like, you'll never remember that ever. So, so thank you, Google, for giving me something that's impossible to remember. I quite expect one day to try to log into the internet and to not get anywhere at all because I don't have any of the right passwords because I can't remember them. But hopefully that won't happen. I will cross my fingers. I had a book of passwords at one point. I was just like, I just threw it away. I was forget it, whatever. You know, hopefully the internet is designed so that we don't get locked out of it from our own stupidity. And then there's always, if you notice, there's whenever I've forgotten a password, which has happened lots of times, it always says, if you forget your password, click here and we will send you an email to reset. Okay. So I don't even need to remember my password because I can instantly click and get an email and then reset my own password. So it's almost pointless anyway. So if anybody was using my computer, they would have access to everything, which, whatever. But I understand if you're a big company and you have some data related to sales, which or pricing or prices or systems or algorithms or calculations that is unique to your company, or maybe you have maybe you've signed non-disclosure agreements, meaning you can't talk about certain things, and that data has to be sometimes protected. Like I've signed a few of those recently, and that's sort of fair enough. But then it's not really your fault sometimes if things get stolen from you. I mean, as long as you take basic precautions. Cybersecurity is one of those terms which is slightly contradictory. It's like oxymoronic. It goes against itself. It's like artificial intelligence. You can't be artificial and be intelligent. But we understand what people mean by it. But nothing that is on the internet is secure. I mean, you don't need to be. Anything that is on a Wi-Fi network which is everything now, right? It wasn't at the beginning, but anything which is on a Wi-Fi network, and everything is one network now, basically, can be accessed and can be found. Even the security that people put in place, like adding VPNs and things, it's just another layer of security, but it can still be hacked and it can still be got around. And the idea that if I use a VPN that pretends that I'm in Argentina, the idea that my internet service provider doesn't know that I'm the people who hide where you are, they know where you are, right? Your web browser basically knows where you are. I mean, whatever browser you've used, Firefox or Internet Explorer, which nobody in the world uses. Nobody uses Internet Explorer. It's a myth, right? So whatever browser you use is collecting and storing and sharing the data of where you visit. And then you've got background programs like there are many, for example, applications in phones that collect all the data running through your phone in the background. Facebook is famous for doing that, does that on the desktop as well, of course. So TikTok does that. Any app that requires certain permissions will extract data. Now, it can be using these things for practical purposes as well, but there security is an illusion. Really, security is an illusion, and that's here's the here's a crazy statement. Security is an illusion. That's why we need God. Because all security is an illusion, right? My door has a lock on it, right? It's a lock. I need a key for it. My door has a lock on it. But any locksmith, and there are hundreds or thousands of locksmiths, people who work with locks, can get into the flat very easily.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, there will be certain types of keys and master keys, and even though my flat is hyper secure and that my key for my flat cannot be copied. I've got a key for my flat. Yeah. I've got my key cannot be copied unless I get an official certificate and go to an official company and get it done personally, which takes months. If I want to copy a key, it'll take months. But I can get a locksmith to come and change the lock on the door in half an hour, right? You know, it's so it's not secure. So the sad but true, but nothing is secure. Your you know, the digital electronic locks on cars. I mean, that's just a frequency. It's a frequency signal. You scan the frequency signal, or you copy the frequency signal. Sometimes it's just an audio. Sometimes it's just an audio noise as well. I've heard that. I haven't tested this, but I've heard that this is true, that if you are in your flat, you can take your electronic digital key and put it next to your mobile phone. Call somebody who's next to your car. Yeah, and they put their phone next to your car. You can open the car. Even though because the digital signal will travel through your phone to your car.
I will check.
So you can actually, you don't have to be. I mean, it's just a digital signal, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a digital signal, right? And digital signals, just like you can have a physical copy, you can also have a digital copy as well. So once you know the type of car and the network it's on, then you can, if you are digitally minded, you can reproduce the same frequency of signal. I'm not exactly sure how it all works, and sometimes I'm kind of surprised that there are not more problems, and that that one key doesn't open more doors. But if it makes people's lives easier, then, you know, in general, it's a good thing. I mean, then one less task can make a big difference to people. The fact that you don't have to go into your pocket and take out your key and put your key in, turn it, the fact you can just walk up and open the door, will make a lot of people's lives easier. It might also mean that a lot of people lose their keys because they never have to use them. And they don't know where they are. But you know, that the digital systems have some advantages. I wonder how much, though, it's still the illusion of security, because in the same way that you could break into a lock or pick a lock or just break a lock in the past, you can probably pretty much do the same with all the digital technology and the cyber elements around that as well. I mean, it's probably pretty interesting if you have a computer and you're able to scan the environment around about you and see what is there. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had one of those. You can get little applications for your phone that optimize your internet connection. And what it does is it scans the place where you live, your home, your house, your flat. It scans for all the signals and all the different frequencies that are there. And then if you want a faster internet connection, it looks for the signals with the least amount of interference. Like if there's more signals on one level, then there'll be a lot of interference. So what it does is it scans for your internet signal that is the most clean signal, and then connects you to that clean signal. And it's really interesting that if you have one of those apps, and I've had one and used it, to see all of the 12 or 15 different signal channels that are full in your home that you don't even know about, that different devices and things are connecting on. It's like every home has these 10 or 15 different systems within it that are communicating and connecting with each other already that we can't even see. You know, it's kind of digital noise, and it's obviously going to be, on the other side, it's obviously going to be affecting people's health and things in some way as well, having all this digital frequency in the environment that we can't see. But it's all there, and it's interesting that there's a whole world of technology that we're hopefully using to make our lives better, but sometimes it just makes it more complicated. And sometimes, you know, sometimes the old ways are the best way, you know, key, door, turnkey.
Yes.
And I mean, it's the same old story of, nobody wants children to be working in mines in Africa, but everybody wants the new Intel chip in their computer. And it's the children working in the mines in Africa that dig out the minerals that get processed, that get turned into the chips. And people don't realize there's a whole process involved there. You know, that's part of what the Middle East crisis in Afghanistan is about. There are lots of rare minerals out there that can be mined and are necessary to provide the raw minerals for the digital world that we live in. And what's crazy as well is these resources are limited, right? These are not infinite resources. These are finite resources. And we're building a world and a culture that is running not on infinite resources, but on finite resources. And we're going to run out of those, right? Eventually at some point, especially the rare earth minerals, which are very special. It's different if it's oil, I think, because we still have thousands of years worth of resources of that on the planet, so it's not such an urgent problem. But we're building a digital culture where everybody wants the faster phone, they want the better laptop, they want the more electronically enhanced car. Industries want factories that are more efficient, that have more robotics and automation integrated into their assembly lines. And So there's a great pressure on society to provide this, even in our leisure activities, right? Where if there's a digital element to that, whether it's how our sports equipment or sports clothes are made, or how systems are calculated and counted, or even how gaming industries are run, and sports are becoming more digital. There's not less digitization. There's consistently more digitization within sports as the machines take over, because the machine decides if the ball was on this side of the line or that side of the line, because it analyzes things in a way that the human eye can't. It will process the data faster and make a decision. It might even make the wrong decision sometimes, because it's probably more accurate than a person, but it does what it is told to do. And that might be a problem, as machines don't have consciences as far as I'm aware, and they probably never will. So yeah, I think that I've always said that there should be a balance of time for every hour that you spend in the digital world. You should have an hour in a non-digital world. Yeah. Like I always told my kids, for every hour that you play like a video game or a computer game, you have to spend an hour outside doing a physical activity. Yeah. You have to balance those two things up, or two things together. And it's, for every, if you look at an average day, for every hour that you spend not moving, and that it's necessary, then you should spend an hour moving as well, just to just because it's good for your body. I mean, look at children, trying to get them to stay in one place for any period of time is pretty complicated activity, unless it's a film which is engaging the brain to make the brain think that there is movement in the environment. And then that's why the child stays still, because they think that they're part of something that they're actually not part of. So it's a way to trick the brain. And so it's get on just getting on a bicycle, right? And getting outside, just picking up some weights and going for a walk, or just I don't know, going for a coffee, whatever. Getting out and doing things matters. Getting that fresh air. So it's I mean, I'm surrounded by digital things, and I appreciate and like them, but for at least an hour every day, I will make sure I have no contact with anything digital. Like I will go for a jog, and I won't even take my phone with me, right? I don't even take my phone with me. I'll just go for a jog, and just all I've got is my key to get back into my flat, right? And that's it's necessary. I think it's necessary to do that. It doesn't have to be a jog. It could be anything. Going to the swimming pool is good for that. Swimming is great because you can't take anything like digital really into the water with you, or you shouldn't, right? So what is important is that the activity gets done. It's not it's not important to me personally how far I go. It's not important to me how fast I go. It's not important to me how many calories I burn up. It's not important to me what my heart rate is. because I'm sort of self-aware of those things. I'm not thinking, okay, I need to, oh, my heart rate is too fast for the last 10 minutes. I got to slow down or something. I'm sort of self-aware enough to be able to say this is okay, or that's too much, or to feel where I'm at. I think it might be because I'm old school, and as I said, important to me is that the activity gets done, and I'm not sure. Would it be helpful to have the data? I'm sure the data is helpful to somebody. You know, if you're a trainer or sports coach, or if you want to track your progress to a certain extent over a period of time and see if something is better or something is worse, and the data can conflict with your experience, because your experience is subjective, not objective, and the data very much tends to be objective, which can help you make certain decisions better. But it's like I said, it's important that it gets done. It's not something that I need to overanalyze, because I don't know what I'd do with the analysis of the data anyway if I had the data. The closest I get to that is being aware of time, right? And how, like I sort of know how fast I go, because I can feel it. It's good to have maybe times and set yourself targets and see if you can be faster or slower. I timed myself in a race against my son a few weeks ago, and my son was faster than me. And that surprised me, because I thought I would be faster than him. So having that data and information is practical and useful from that aspect. I don't know. I've always seen that activity personally as more of an adventure, which is sort of what keeps it interesting. Like I don't exactly plan how far I'm going to go, or how fast I'm going to go, or what I'm going to do. I go out with a general purpose of going out and seeing what is possible within the environment. And it's the environment that dictates everything to people. So if you've got a forest nearby, or a large part of countryside, or some hills, then you can, that's good, because you can use that to your advantage. You can use that for resistance. You can use that for different pathways and different journeys. And when I lived in Bistrica, I would go and jog into the forests around about. Yeah. And I had a little look at a map before I left, but I never had a set plan. I was like, okay, I'm going to go this way, and I'll see where this road goes, and I'll see where this trail goes. And it happened that sometimes I got lost right? Out in the forest, which is not really very smart. But that was part of the getting comfortable with being real in the world. And the adventure of getting lost is the realization of the fact that you can get lost and you don't know exactly where you are, and how you handle that situation is important. And it's good to have some security in situations as well. Like if you've got your phone with you and you've got a problem, then you can use your phone to solve that problem. If you've got a phone and you meet someone who's got a problem, you can use your phone to help them with their problem as well. And so there's all of these other advantages which are not really on my radar.